Hi guys, so I know it's been a while since I've done a vlog and I'm so sorry, but most of you guys know what has been going on and that my life's been super crazy. Let me just say that April has been by far the worst month ever, ever for me. I think now whenever April comes around, I'm just gonna cuddle in a hole and just wait for the 30 days to pass by, you know? Um, April was my birthday. I turned 21. Nothing too hype to be about because some of you guys know that April 4th is my birthday, and April 2nd I got into a huge fight with my son's father, and I somehow ended up fracturing my ankle. And so with that said, I was in crutches for 3 weeks. So I spent my 21st birthday home because I couldn't do anything because I had a brace on my ankle and crutches. No fun. Okay, so that was April 4th, and then April 15th I flew down to Trinidad because that's where I'm originally from. And from watching my other vlogs and reading my blogs, you guys, I've been here for about a year or two now, so some of you may be familiar with the journey that I took on with taking care of my father, who was first diagnosed with prostate cancer in 2010, and when he was diagnosed in 2010, he had full-blown stage 4 prostate cancer. Last month, from August to the beginning of December, I brought him up from Trinidad and I took care of him personally, and I got him on track. He was stable. He was, even though when he first came to me, he was going through renal failure. He needed dialysis, and by the time I was done with him, he was in tip-top condition. The doctors just told him that he needs to follow up with his meds and keep taking care of himself. But as soon as he got better in December of last year, he flew back home to Trinidad and it went all downhill. So April 15th I flew down to see him because a couple days prior to that I got a phone call telling me that he was admitted to hospice. So, of course, me being in the medical field, I know hospice is basically palliative care. And when somebody gets admitted into hospice or starts enduring hospice service, it's basically saying that they're terminal. And what hospice does is that hospice doesn't treat you. They don't treat you for your condition. They don't give you any type of care. What the main goal of hospice is to be there for you and to be there mentally, physically, and spiritually to prepare you to understand that you are going to die soon, that your time is coming near. So this is your time where you become one with yourself. You acknowledge that you acknowledge your condition. You know it's just something really spiritually and emotionally. So when I heard that, I knew the time was coming close, and I thought about it and I cried because I was going down there not knowing what to expect, you know, because I know when he left here in December, he was able to walk, you know. He was 160 pounds because he came to me first in August of last year 120 pounds, and by the time he left, he was a healthy 160 pounds again. So I was really scared because by the time he was left, I mean, I kept contact with him, but I realized afterwards what was going on is that he was basically trying to make me believe that he was okay, not making me worrying, because when I would say, you know, Dad, I'm sorry, I have a bit of a cold, so I'm kind of stuffy. When I would say, Dad, how are you doing? Are you okay? He would always be like, yeah, I'm good, you know, and blow it off like that. So when I got the call that he was in hospice, I was kind of taken back by surprise because as far as I was concerned, he was doing great, you know, he was just on top of everything. So I sat down and I thought about it, and I was like, you know, financially, of course, I didn't have because a ticket to go to Trinidad is like $400 or $500, and you know, I just got the house and with everything. So I mean, financially, I didn't know, because I thought about it. I was like, okay, if he's in hospice now, then that means he's gonna pass away pretty soon. Am I gonna get money to fly back down there for his funeral? And originally I wasn't gonna go, and I was gonna just wait until something happens and just prepare myself and then fly down for his funeral. But then I was like, you know, I'd rather go and see him in his living years and tell him that I love him and tell him that I'm here for him, because I know myself, but I know if something would have happened to him, and I wouldn't have seen him before he passed away, I would have, you know, I don't know, I probably would have kept that guilt, you know. So April 15th, I flew in. As soon as I got from the airport, my aunt picked me up and they took me straight to the hospice. And to be honest, like, even though I was born in Trinidad and I grew up in Trinidad, I've never had to experience what it's like to go to the doctor down there or go to a hospital. So it was a rude awakening being basically in a foreign country and to see their facilities and to see the cleanliness of stuff. It's very different from here in the US, and even in those of you who was in Europe and in the UK, it's very different. I don't know, I kind of scorned it in a way, because I'm like, oh my god, like, how do they treat people here, you know? So when I walked in the room, I just saw he was sharing a room with somebody, and I just remember crying. I looked at him and I just helplessly started crying, because he was nothing but skin and bones. If he weighed 90 pounds, he weighed a lot. He was barely skin and bones. And like, in my mind, I'm getting teary-eyed right now, because this is the first time I've actually had to talk about it. I'm sharing it with you guys. I might have to make a part 2 to this, because it's already 6 minutes long. So yeah, in my mind, I couldn't believe it, you know. He was just with me a couple months ago, and he never looked like this, and I just couldn't understand what went wrong, what's going on. And I cried for about a good 5 minutes, and I went, and all I could tell him was just I love him, you know. I took his hand and I just said, Dad, I love you, and I'm here, and I'm sorry that I can't do anything more for you, but me being here is what I could do, and I just love you. And like, I probably told him I loved him about 600 times. I finally got in contact with his doctor. The doctor told me what was going on. By now, the cancer had already spread to his bones. It's already spreading to his back. He couldn't walk at all. He was just bedridden. He couldn't move. He couldn't do nothing. He was in a lot of pain. And the cancer was already spreading to his brain. So it was just his organs and everything was slowly shutting down. And it was just a matter of time. They told me that he was very weak and that he needed blood. He's B positive, and of course, me being his daughter, I was also B positive. So they told me I flew in there on a Saturday, so I was leaving the following on a Tuesday. So they told me Monday morning to go into town, into Port of Spain, Trinidad, and to go to the blood bank and donate. And of course, I got up to go, and when I went, they'll test your hemoglobin to see your blood count, and my blood count was extremely low. And basically, because I am also anemic, but I thought probably I could have slipped past, because during that weekend I ate lots of bananas. I drank lots of water, and I tried to basically get my blood level up, but I just couldn't. And I went there and they told me, you can't donate blood for your father because you're anemic. And I just cried, because I'm trying to help and I'm trying to do all of this for him, and I just couldn't. No matter what, I just couldn't do it. And for the next 2 days, that was Monday, so for the next couple days, like, I stayed with him, and he couldn't talk much, and he was just in a lot of pain, but all I did was just hold his hand, and I just played with his hair, and I just told him that I loved him, and I kissed him on his forehead. And it broke my heart, because my dad died at 71. He was 71. But throughout all the years that I've known him, and him being my father and being a part of my life, I've known him to be a very proud man with a big ego. And to see him like that, very helpless, it broke my heart. It really did. And it was the toughest thing that I've ever had to see and ever had to endure. And so I came back up, and I kept in contact. I mean, he couldn't talk to me, but I would talk to the nurses, and on April 29th, he passed away. It was a Sunday morning. He passed away at 10:27 in the morning. And I remember my mom calling me, and she told me, and I just cried. I cried for that whole day. It was very tough. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this video short now, because I gotta make a part 2, because YouTube would only allow me to upload a certain amount. So this is part 1, so make sure you click the other link for part 2, okay? Bye.